read, Sheetal, the verse?
Yeah, I can read.
Okay.
ये त्वेतदभ्यसूयन्तो नानुतिष्ठन्ति मे मतम् सर्वज्ञान विमूढांस्तान् विद्धि नष्टान्न चेतसः.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. But those who, out of envy, disregard these teachings and do not follow them regularly are to be considered bereft of all knowledge, befooled and ruined in their endeavors for perfection. The flaw of not being Krishna conscious is clearly stated herein. There's a flaw. It means that if we are not Krishna conscious, it's technically a flaw. See, we don't realize that. We human beings do not realize that being Krishna conscious is actually a necessity for each one of us. It's an important thing. And if we are not engaging in it, there's a flaw. There's a technical fault in that. As there is punishment for disobedience to the order of the Supreme Executive Head, so there is certainly punishment for disobedience to the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. A disobedient person, however great he may be, is ignorant of his own self and of the Supreme Brahman, Paramatma, and the Personality of Godhead due to a vacant heart. Therefore, there is no hope of perfection of life for him. So we might be a very great person in this material world. And so we might say that, in our own pride, I have such a great position, or I have so much knowledge, I have so much talent, or I have this, or I have that. But then what is my true position? Where am I getting it from? Where am I getting it from? If we are disregarding totally the Supreme Lord who's giving us everything, then we are totally envious of him, disregarding him who's giving us everything. And then however great we may be in terms of material knowledge, we are still ignorant. We endeavor so much to have university degrees, PhDs, postdoc, all that, but is there really knowledge? Sure, it's knowledge. It helps us to deal in the material world. It helps us to maintain our body. But what about the spiritual part of it? Then we get carried away. Oh, I have so much knowledge. But then we forget, but am I the body or my spirit soul? So I need to get my spiritual connection, which is with Krishna. And it's only out of envy. It's out of envy for Krishna that we are disregarding these teachings of the Bhagavad Gita, because we say, I am supreme. Why shall Krishna be God? Why I'm supposed to be supreme? Everybody's supposed to follow what I want. Why should I be following someone else? And then this thinking then we are called ignorant and foolish. And then this is the reason we continue to exist here in the material world. So we have to gradually give up this thinking. And how do we give up this thinking? The more we hear and chant in the association of devotees, gradually we'll give up this desire, our envy of Krishna. Because of our envy of him, we disregard him. We don't give him the credit which is due to him as the creator, the maintainer, the owner of everything and everyone. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Would anybody like to add anything?
No, all good.
So text 33. Would somebody like to read this?
If nobody wants to read, I can recite.
Okay.
Okay. Sadrusham chestate swasyaha prakrutir ajnanavaanapi prakrutim yanti bhutani nigraha kim karishyati.
Even a man of knowledge acts according to his own nature, for everyone follows the nature he has acquired from the three modes. What can repression accomplish? Unless one is situated on the transcendental platform of Krishna consciousness, cannot get free from the influence of the modes of material nature, as it is confirmed by the Lord in the 7th chapter, 7.14. Yeah, so it means that we are all under the modes, under the control of the modes of material nature. Each one of us. Each one of us is under the modes. Therefore, even for the most highly educated person on the mundane plane, it is impossible to get out of the entanglement of Maya simply by theoretical knowledge or by separating the soul from the body. So we all know, oh, we hear people say, I know, I'm not the body, I'm the soul. I know that. But how do we act? Do we act on the platform of the soul? Or do we act as if we are the body? What are we doing? So just by theoretically knowing it, or just by saying, oh yeah, I know I'm the soul, I'm not the body, nothing happens. We still continue to remain in this material world. There are many so-called spiritualists who outwardly pose as advanced in the science, but inwardly or privately are completely under particular modes of nature, which they are unable to surpass. We have seen, this is like the so-called gurus. There are so many all over the world. All over the world we see. People proclaim themselves to be spiritualists, but if you hear them, then they themselves are so confused. So what are they going to teach us? They themselves are under the control of the modes of nature, of goodness, passion, and ignorance. So how would they guide us? So that's the reason it is said that how do we choose a guru? A guru is chosen not by seeing, but by hearing. When we hear, oh, what is this person saying? Is he able to cut my ignorance? Is he able to give me that transcendental knowledge? So academically, one may be very learned, but because of his long association with material nature, he is in bondage. Academically, one may be very learned, but because of his long association with material nature, he's in bondage. So again, we come to the point. We think, oh, if I have some nice academic knowledge, I'm whatever, a graduate, a postgraduate, or a doc, or whatever, that I'm a great personality. Sure, materially we don't disregard a person's efforts, but it doesn't take us out of the material world. It still keeps us in the material world. Krishna consciousness helps one to get out of the material entanglement, even though one may be engaged in his prescribed duties in terms of material existence. So it's not that all of us can just renounce our duties and go and live in the forest, and say, okay, I'm going to try to revive my spirituality. It's not practical for us in this day and age. 5,000 years ago, Krishna told Arjuna the path of yoga. 5,000 years ago, Arjuna tells him it's not practical. The mind is turbulent. It's impossible to control the mind. So what to speak of now for us? We are Kali Yuga people. Our minds are so disturbed and full of anxiety. So how do we get out of this material world? How do we actually get out of it? The answer is only Krishna consciousness. There is no answer. There is no way. We are always trying to bypass this thing. We are trying to bypass this. Let me try to get out of the world by some other method. We are trying to discover new ways. We are trying to follow the path of Gyan, or follow the path of yoga, or even try to make up some other imagination. Oh, they didn't know it. I am greater. I can find out a path. I know how to do it. Because we are always trying to as I say, bypass devotional service. We don't want to engage in devotional service. Why? Because that's the reason we are here in the material world. Because we know, oh, if engaging in devotional service means I need to surrender to Krishna. Why should I surrender to Krishna? Who is he? I'm supposed to be the controller myself. Everybody's supposed to listen to me. I'm independent. I'm supposed to be the director. Why should I take part in Krishna's pastimes? Why should he say, or his pastimes say of whatever, Kaliya snake, and everybody is going to act however they're going to act? I should be the hero, and as I'm saying, everyone should act in this way. Do we realize 7 billion people are thinking that way, that everyone should act according to how I'm thinking, and how much clash is happening? Each of us is creating a perfect situation in our mind regarding other people, Each of us, huh? And then we are all creating this perfect situation. And so how many clashes are happening actually? Just because we don't want to accept Krishna's supremacy, that he is the Supreme Lord and we are his eternal parts and parcels. So the only way we can get out of the material world is that. And the choice is ours. Whether we accept it, we don't accept it. We want to accept it now, or we want to accept it after 1,000,000 births, after 1,000 births. The choice is ours. But if we really want to get out of the material world, that's the only way. Therefore, without being fully in Krishna consciousness, one should not give up his occupational duties. No one should suddenly give up his prescribed duties and become a so-called yogi or transcendentalist artificially. It is better to be situated in one's position and to try to attain Krishna consciousness under superior training. Thus, one may be freed from the clutches of Krishna's Maya. Okay, so now we say, okay, engage in devotional service is the only way to get out of the material world. But each of us is situated in different positions in society. We have our different duties to do. What shall we do? What is a practical way of engaging in Krishna consciousness and yet continuing with our whatever position we are in society in the material world? Then what is it? We just add Krishna to our life. Lord Chaitanya never advised us to leave home. He said, wherever you are, whatever you are doing, you just chant Hare Krishna. So wherever we are, however we are situated, we just start chanting Hare Krishna. We hear from Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, and it should be done regularly. You know, we don't artificially give up our duties. But if we artificially give up our duties, then what Krishna says, we will act according to our own nature. We might say, oh, no, I'm going to give up everything. I renounce everything. But then that we are renouncing because we are frustrated of our material position. Material life is frustrating. There's so much suffering, you know, and then we get frustrated. And then we say, oh, Krishna is saying, hear and chant. So let me give up everything. And that's what I'm going to do. But what is going to happen? Our nature is going to act. We are not yet on the purified platform. Our nature will act. It will force us again to act on the material platform. So it's better we accept, yes, I am in the material world, but the only way I can get out of it is by chanting Krishna's names. So let me hear and chant and dance and have Krishna Prasadam. You know, and gradually, we'll get free from Maya. Gradually, it will all, our attachment to this material world will lessen and our attachment to Krishna will increase. Gradually, we will be situated in the knowledge of our true position. Gradually, everything will become clearer. Is that okay? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Are you able to relate to it, or does it seem like a very...
No, I can relate it to.
You can relate to it. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. It doesn't seem impossible, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's, yeah. When you say impossible, it says, I am possible.
Yes, I am possible. That's right. Yeah, because we don't have to leave anything what we are doing. We just add Krishna. We just chant Hare Krishna, read Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita. Gradually, everything, you know, then we get out of Maya by this.
And I think if we do face any problem in any given situation, the best is to always remember Krishna and ask him for help. Ask help from someone who can genuinely help you. It's no point asking help from anyone else. He actually makes the situation like that it becomes easy. If there are obstacles in a path of spiritual life, I mean, as simple and mundane as, you know, talking with people who are not into Krishna conscious, but you're in touch with them and things have to go on, you know, relationships, friendships, so on. Pray to Krishna before you speak to them, you know, so that you do not speak anything mundane, or, you know, try and talk Krishna consciousness to them, about Krishna to them. So he will just make it happen.
Yeah.
I personally have experienced that. He just makes the situation so smooth that and then you think afterwards, oh God, I was thinking so much about it and making such a big thing about it. But actually, when you tell Krishna, you communicate with him, right? Tell him, he just makes it so simple for you because your desire is genuine.
So true. Thank you. Thank you for
Yeah.
sharing. Yes, yes, it's true. We forget him, you know. We forget him, the most important person, and we think that I can handle it myself. Let me handle it myself. You know, thank you. That's such a nice, important thing that we can all do.
I actually, why brought this up, I just experienced this last night itself, last evening. Weekend cooking, connect with everyone. And I was just saying, God, Krishna, I'm talking to this person. Please, I do not want to get into any kind of, stupid conversations. Please let the conversation be like really short. And it finished in 5 minutes. And I was expecting to go for over an hour because, long time connecting. I said, oh, thank you, Krishna. You saved me.
Good, good. That's
That person happened, although it was fixed, we were going to talk at this time. And that person said, oh, no, I've got a lot of work to do. And sorry, let's catch up some other time. Perfect.
wonderful. Wonderful. Yeah, Krishna arranges. We just have to learn to depend on him.
Depend and trust. Yeah, just depend on him. Actually, more than trust, just depend on him. Whether you trust him or forget it, just depend on him.
Yeah, yeah. Because we're always trying to depend on our own strength. We are trying to find our solutions by ourselves. But, we have to learn to depend. We have to do our part, of course, that not that we don't do, but yeah. But so nice. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that important thing. So shall we stop here for today? And then we can chant one round.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Bol, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.